Welcome back. Let's talk about how we can enhance national, state, local security with the use of technology in this age of AI and all of that. So let's bring in our guest, who is a technology strategist and AI researcher, Mr. Olufemi Ario. Mr. Ario, thank you for coming on the program.
Nice to be here this morning.
I think it just ties into our previous conversation. The reason why Onitsha main market, which is one of the biggest markets perhaps in the whole of West Africa, is being shut down by the government. It says it's going to leave it shut for 1 week. The reason is because of the IPOB sit-at-home that has crippled economies for the last maybe 3 years plus or more. Many years, I can't remember the number of years now, where market people don't just generally come out because of the fear for their lives. But the government are saying, we have provided security, so what exactly is your problem? But the market people are saying, yes, you provided security inside the market, but we can't guarantee what happens before we come to the market and after we close from the market on Mondays. So we better stay home. If there was some intervention in terms of technology for reassurance, what would it be? This is a case study.
The thing about the case you talked about is when it talks about the way technology comes in, especially new technologies like AI and all of that, is that information becomes more powerful. Beyond it just remaining at the data level, it now becomes insight. You can track movements, you can track who does what, when they do what, and you can even predict, because these things have patterns. There are patterns to them, which is very difficult for the human to understand. And because machines can now think, you see sometimes you search the internet and you see thinking. It's because it's processing from a variety of information and trying to use internet available data, synchronized with the power of the model to predict. And then it gives you very intelligent responses. So this case study you talked about now, when you have the data, instead of the data just remaining as data, there's information in silos. But this data is not amounting to anything. You can't make a decision with it. But when you now have technology there to help human beings to process insights from the data, then you can make a whole lot of better decisions. And I think that's the role technology
So in this case, what kind of information would the Anambra State government, the relevant security agents in Anambra State, be needing to tackle the security concern from the Monday sit-at-home compliance? What kind of information do they need?
So different types of challenges have different types of requirements. Like, for instance, there are tips, but do the people trust the Anambra State government enough to provide those tips? There are informations available in different positions with different people. But can they, sometimes when you're looking for a criminal, you place a price on them, and then the information will always come because somebody wants that price. Someone has access to that information. It may be an insider with them, and he's ready to sell out.
Okay, so let's paint a mental picture. As Jeffrey explained, they're saying that their security on their way to the market cannot be guaranteed, and their security upon exit cannot be guaranteed on a Monday. So in tackling the security concern en route to the market from the different locations, be it in Nkwo, he mentioned Nkwo, he mentioned Asaba. So that means that some traders come from far off Onitsha. So what are the things that they would need, and where would the technology intervention come in here to tackle it sufficiently?
So the thing about some of the things we've just talked about is that there are different security agencies that are doing different things. Like the police is with the grassroots, the direct, what's happening, crime, who was arrested, if they were tried, whatever, all that information is with them. The NSCDC also has their own work. The Nigerian Army has their own work. But all these agencies are working and they have genuine information, but this information is not shared. It's just resident with them. And you can't make any much sense with them. There should be tiered sharing levels. There are information you cannot share, like who gave the tip. The anonymous has to remain anonymous, the human intelligence. But these days, the trust line has been broken because people's information have been shared as the people who gave the information. So when technology is going to be used, that has to be guaranteed that the human intelligence will never be shared. Once human beings know that, communal intelligence is actually what keeps the environment safe. We are the people who live there. We are the people who experience the challenges. We know where it pinches. And we are the best people to solve our security issues. So if those people are removed from that equation, security agencies can do very little. Weapons can do nothing. Because you can't just deploy weapons and start shooting aside. You need to know targeted, and you need to act with intelligence. And this insight is what technology helps us to decipher from a plethora of large database of information that doesn't mean anything to a human being. Technology can help us to see patterns. Because you also agree with me that when it comes to crime, there is proceeds of crime and there is the benefits you get, which makes it such that whoever perpetrates that crime wants to follow that pattern to get to the result because it sees this works. So they want to try it again. When you have technology there, technology helps you to deduce those patterns and also helps you to predict, oh, if this thing happens like this, then there's a likelihood that it can happen like this. And you can also deduce hotspots to say, this can be a likely hotspot. And this is what AI comes to do. It comes to enhance. Imagine a junior officer who is just coming in and now has access to technology and AI. AI helps them to think at expert level, like the McKinsey case. A junior officer is working at expert level because he has access to information that is used to train machines. And the machine can work at faster speed processing than the human beings can. And this is the advantage. AI is not going to take the place of humans. It's rather going to enhance our work and make it much, much better.
Let's go to another practical situation, which is what Nigerians, the average Nigerian doesn't seem to agree, understand, and accept. And it's common sense not to agree to, because it's just difficult that with this age of all the technologies we have our BVN, we have our NIN, we have all sorts of data all over the place connected to our phones and our bank accounts. Yet, a mass number of people, as much as 300, 150, will come to maybe one hinterland somewhere in the north or north central or where, pick people, take them away, and then families or whoever will go to get their people and pay ransom. And then you're wondering, how did they pay the ransom? I have a friend who was kidnapped, and I know how many millions he spent to get himself out. There were phone call conversations. There was a point to pick up the money, drop off the money, get him from the boat and bring him home after 50 days. So, is it difficult for government to use AI and technology to really, really take out criminality, or we're just joking around? Or it's more complex than we think it is?
So from what you've even said now, you shared a lot of insight. You've talked about a pattern. But that pattern is isolated. It probably with the police. You just shared a pattern now. Pick up, drop off, collection of money. There is a pattern. And that pattern is needed for other security agencies to take action. They may not have the gadgets to take the action, but they need to be fed with the insights from that pattern you just described. Even the collection of money, you have the experts there, you have the EFCCs of this world. They have expert information. They can tell you what's happening to the money. They can tell you how it relates to the BVN. And all of that is trackable today. But that information is not available to the police. So they don't even know that this is how much was collected. They will need to be asking the victim when the harm has already been done. So what I like to say, how I like to see it is that security, crime has gone on mobile. Crime is now gone on social. Crime is now connected with the internet. So it's now very sophisticated. Security too needs to be connected on social, on mobile, and it needs to become that sophisticated. It cannot afford to remain isolated. So currently it's my data, my power. The information of the police stays with the police, and then there's the Office of the National Security Advisor that is now being fed. That is probably maybe every now and then the heads go there. This thing doesn't need to be static like that. It needs to be dynamic. It needs to be realist. It needs to be real-time information share. So like this information you shared now, Probably there was a bus stop that was used. That bus stop, at 4 p.m., 4:15, people usually come there closing from work. And then maybe it was a one chance where they just come with an almost empty bus. These patterns have been relayed by those that incident happened to. But what was done with the information? At best, it just remains at the level of the information.
Okay, so this is where you come in. You said something significant moments ago, that crime is now sophisticated, dynamic, social. Hence, security also has to become social. So is this something that a security app, for instance, can aid in tackling?
So I like to use the word app with carefulness, because if someone who is about to commit kidnapping finds the app on your phone, they would act more decidedly, probably kill the victim. So I would rather use other simpler methods like USSD, SMS, things that you can quickly delete from your phone. Not apps that are more permanent on your phone. Things like WhatsApp. Maybe there's a WhatsApp line you can send distress to. You just press a single button on your phone and security agencies are alerted on your location, and it gives real-time information access. And then you are already on the way. Security is getting to you already. But there's nothing like that. And what is good about Nigeria is that we share information. And we share this information on social media, we share it very fast. One of the things that has made kidnapping become a viral thing is there was a time when there was this, and that's what I say about media. Media is very powerful. These days with social, it makes it go on steroids. It means information shared now can be received by somebody in the US now real time. And this guy was caught by one of the security agencies. And they did a full televising of that moment. He said something that was very emotional and touching. He said his oga was paying him 20,000 naira for driving him. And when they kidnapped his daughter, he was ready to pay 20 million. He said he just dawned on him that I would die if I continue driving this man. I better just start augmenting myself by doing kidnapping. It took a major security agency in Nigeria to arrest that situation. The police had the information, but there's very little they can do about it. But until they started sharing that information with themselves, that was when they could intercept that kidnapping situation and arrest it. But then there was a training that was done. The whole population was being trained to see that 20,000, 20 million. There's something wrong with my head. Armed robbery is not even paying me as much as kidnapping. Then kidnapping became the in thing. Anybody who has access to weapons wants to try kidnapping out. Because you see young boys building houses.
Yeah, we need more opportunities.
There needs to be a counter culture that needs to be built using technology to man those patterns. And there needs to be a national security data sharing platform.
Yeah, and that's what we would have expanded upon, particularly where harmonization of data.
Harmonizing these dynamics. But we must thank you. I think
but we must anchor at this point.
You made a very vital statement and made great submission. It's an ongoing conversation. When it comes to national security, it never ends until we get it right. Thank you. Olufemi Ariyo, technology strategist and AI researcher. We appreciate you for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. And that's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. Sunrise Daily is up at the very top of the hour. And Jeffrey, who's on my bye-bye.
Of course, we'll be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.